Hi, Verbling. My name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about strange stories. We'll be reading some strange stories, talking about the vocabulary, and of course, if we have time, maybe making a story of our own. If anybody wants to friend me on Facebook, I'll put my Facebook name in the chat box for you guys. I update about classes there, and if you ever have questions, you can message me there as well. Or feel free to request a class. If there's a topic that you want covered, you can always ask me there. Elcio, welcome to class.
Good morning, Michaela.
Good morning to you. So bummer about the game last night.
Oh, terrible. It is a real Brazil
mm.
team.
I feel like the team must have just gotten tired.
Yes.
I mean,
Perhaps.
after so many games and so much practice and pressure, I think that must be exhausting.
I don't know, because other teams have a training all days during the week. In
That's true.
Brazil, have a training one day after parties.
I see. So maybe the problem is not exhaustion from practice, but exhaustion from parties.
They have much money, many Ferraris, big houses, and
Yeah.
most of the players live in Europe, in other countries. Soccer is 100% of tactics. Other
hmm
teams like United States have a good match. I like to way than the Americans play in this World Cup.
I thought it was exciting to watch the American players also because for me, the US isn't very good at soccer, so even just winning one match was kind of thrilling because it was unexpected for me.
Other teams like Costa Rica, Algeria,
hmm Those were the
every
interesting matches.
yes. Only Brazil is the worst.
I don't think Brazil is the worst, but this year they were not the best.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe next World Cup. It's definitely changed my view of the World Cup. Now having seen the event from inside Brazil, it's changed how I think about it a lot.
You you know watch any any match in alive in the stadium?
No, the closest I got was I watched the Brazil Chile match, but from outside the stadium, not inside.
Ah, because you live in Minas.
I know, yeah. I live in a city that's about 4 hours away from Belo. So it's not super close, but when there was a match at Mineirão, and I was like, okay, let's go, because I wanted to see the excitement from close, but I'm too cheap to buy a ticket.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it really was. Did
Oh,
you watch any of the matches from inside the stadium?
no, I don't like.
No?
No.
Crowded, loud. It's a big mess.
Yes.
Yeah,
I prefer
totally
my
agree.
home.
Yeah, it's more comfortable.
Yes.
All right. And we have a new student, Ali. Or not a new student, but another student.
Yeah, hello. Actually, I'm new.
New?
Uh, yeah, actually, I'm new.
Awesome.
Also new.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah, nice to
I'm
meet you too.
hearing an echo from your audio. Do you have two Verbling pages open?
No, but actually, I use a mobile phone for to hang out, but
Interesting. I'm hearing some echo from your audio. I'm not really sure why. But it's good to have you in class. Where are you from?
I'm from Egypt.
Nice to meet you, Ali.
To
And
meet
thank
you.
you for muting yourself. I know that might be frustrating, but it'll help us out. Okay. I'll put the notes for the class in the chat boxes for you guys. And we'll get started. The first question I have, we're going to start with a little conversation to warm up. And that's, what is your favorite kind of story? So, Elcio,
My
what kind of
favorite.
stories do you like?
I like stories about sci-fi. Or stories or movies like Terminator,
Ooh, yeah, what a great one.
Skynet. Perhaps someday can be happen that
Mm-hmm.
story. No,
Yeah,
no,
those are
so
kind
no,
of.
no so far.
Not what?
No so far from
Oh,
our
yeah.
time.
Yeah, definitely. Those are great stories because they capture your imagination and it's kind of it's exciting and new. I totally agree. Sci-fi is awesome. And what do you think makes sci-fi a good genre of story?
I don't know. Perhaps a vision of the future.
Mm-hmm. Definitely an interesting thing to take a look at. Awesome. All right. So since Ali dropped out for now, we'll go on and we'll read the first story together and talk a little bit about it. I've highlighted some vocabulary words in purple, and if you're going to download this document today, you can put the definition for them in at the bottom, where there's a big list of all the vocabulary today. So go ahead and read this paragraph and our first story.
Okay, Michaela. Excavations of limestone. Oops, let me click on the of a limestone cave on the Indonesian island of Flores covered 3 foot tall skeletons with a skull on a third the size of a normal human, a hobbit. Researchers discovered the bones of the 90 such people, the youngest of which dates back about 12,000 years. That's correct?
Mm-hmm.
They also found tools and other signs of civilization. There are
Skeptics.
skeptics who believe the hobbits are simple humans that suffered from a growth inhibiting condition such as microcephaly, microcephaly, but popular opinion among scientists is that the hobbits are a separate species like Neanderthals that share a common ancestor with humans. Also, Indonesia has active volcanoes, which you could say through a ring inside if needs be.
Okay.
My audio is clearly, Michaela.
Yeah, your audio sounds good to me.
Because I have some problems with my Google Hangouts. They change my volume automatically. I don't know why.
Oh, weird.
Yes, the same problem when you type, automatically you're muted.
Yeah, sometimes that's annoying. Happens to me too.
The same problem. The mute microphone, the adjust automatically the sound.
I'm not sure how to go about fixing that. Um, you could try. No, I don't
Uh,
know. It's just an automatic thing. But yeah, it's annoying, frustrating for me too.
I try. I ask you because I try fix a solution, and perhaps my sound, yes, they are normal.
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody, but I don't know a solution for it.
Are you
Maybe,
typing? Are you typing your chat box for you? You
okay,
use the Windows?
Windows. You mean Google? Google chat
No,
box?
no, operational system.
Yeah.
Okay, I will type it for you.
All
One
right.
moment.
Thank you. And in the meantime, we have a couple more students. Ali, you're back. Did you fix the audio?
Yes, I changed them. I use a laptop now.
Awesome.
Mm,
We can hear you much better.
yeah, you hear me clearly? No echo?
No echo. You're great.
Yeah,
So have
okay.
you been with Verbling a long time, Ali?
Yes, but I stopped for a while, then I am back.
Well, it's good to have you. And what is your favorite kind of story?
What kind of story? I think that scary or mystery story.
Ooh, cool. Scary mystery stories. And why
Yeah,
do you like them?
because they actually I hate stories that you know about the end and you expect or manipulate the end in your mind. But in mystery story, you have to you ch you change your expectation about the end because you
Mhm.
can yeah can expect and the end. But actually, what the story end is something not your expectation out of
Yeah, it's
expectation.
always a surprise.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ali. And Vitali? I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. Vitali? Are you there, Vitali? Hmm. Well, I can't hear you, Vitali, but if you're having trouble with your microphone, come to the settings up here and you can change what microphone is using. So that might help you. And if you have any other problems, just tell us over here in the chat box. All right. So let's get back to our stories. We read the first one, but we haven't talked about it much yet. Ali, did you hear the first story that we read, or did you miss it?
Yes, I hear, but something like some word I don't know, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You are talking about history, and they found a bone of nine such people in
Mm-hmm.
the cave on Indonesia. And something weird they found that. Uh, uh, tools of civilization, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about vocabulary then. The first word that I think could be new for some is excavations. Does anybody know the definition for the word excavation? No?
Excavation.
Maybe archaeologist finding.
Mm-hmm. So it's something that people find, maybe an anthropologist or
Mm-hmm.
a historian. What else can we add to the definition of excavation? It's an action.
Excavation can be exploration, vertical exploration.
Yeah. Vertical exploration. So usually it involves digging a big hole and taking out artifacts. In this case, they were taking out the skulls and skeletons of some abnormal humans. Very tiny, 3-foot tall humans. All right. What about a skeptic? What is a skeptic?
I have no idea.
A skeptic is a person who doesn't believe something very easily. So if I told you something like the sky is red, you might say, well, why do you think the sky is red? Who says the sky is red? I don't think the sky is red. So someone who doesn't believe things immediately on hearing them, but always asks for more proof and evidence of something. So in this case, a skeptic would be kind of like a critic of a certain idea. Does that make sense?
Yes, I put the link. Brazil is skeptics. It's without letter key.
Mm-hmm.
Skeptics.
So they're skeptics.
They have no faith in something.
Yes, exactly. I think you've got the right meaning there. No faith. All right. And then we have the word ancestors in purple. What's the definition for the word ancestors?
Parents, last parents, the long time ago.
Yeah, so the many people who came generations before. Parents maybe, or grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. All right, and do you guys have any other vocabulary questions? There's a lot of advanced vocabulary here.
Skeleton. It's the first of second line.
This one, skeleton. Elcio, do you know what a skeleton is?
Yes, it's a complete skull.
Uh-huh.
Head, arms, legs.
Human.
Mm-hmm.
Bones.
Yeah, it's a set of bones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Microcephaly. What is it? Is it?
That is a disease. I believe it's microcephaly, and it's a disease that makes people small.
Okay.
So sometimes people are abnormally small. They might have this disease.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so there's a little joke at the end, and I'm not really sure if you guys understood it or not. The very last sentence says, also Indonesia has active volcanoes, which you could say throw a ring inside if need be. So is anyone here a fan of Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is a Lord of the Rings joke because they're saying that these little people are like hobbits. And so they're saying these hobbits were found in an area where there are also volcanoes, just in case these hobbits needed to throw a ring inside of it. You know, like Lord of the Rings?
Okay.
I know, it's not a very funny joke, but All right. So no more questions on this one? Let's get some opinions. Ali, what do you think? Do you think they're hobbits? Do you think they had a disease, or is something else going on? So they found 9 people, 9 3-foot-tall people.
I don't know, but we are talking about that that 9 people is very tall, and then become all the interpreter are big than now. We are talking about that.
Yeah, we're talking about skeletons, like ancient remains of 9 people that were only 3 feet tall. So they were adult humans, but they were only 3 feet tall. How can you explain that?
I think that I don't know, but we have to investigate this phenomena, because I think that in the Inceptor, I think that all the Inceptor are become or they could be big or bigger than yours or than mine in this now, because I think that they tall I don't know by meters. So they very small. I don't know, but it can become a human. It could be or not be. It can be not a human.
Hard to tell. Yeah, it could be something other than a human. Elsia, what do you think? Do you think it's not a human remain, it's some other kind of species, or they're hobbits?
Well, there's species like a monkey, but hobbits? No.
No, you don't believe in hobbits?
Some people can be a hobbit, I think, but I don't believe in hobbits.
Okay, all right. And Vitali?
I agree with my colleague Helsio. I think that maybe these people is only have had a disease like microcephaly. I don't believe in the hobbits.
All right. No one believes in my hobbits. That's okay. Okay. So, any other questions or comments on this first story before we move on to the next one? I think the next one is a little more believable. And we'll split it up into 2 sections. Ali, will you read these first 2 parts that I'm highlighting for you here? Can you see it, Ali?
Yeah, sure, I can read. Federal agent inspecting a couple landing at an Arizona entry port in the U.S.-Mexico border found 2 live parrots hidden inside an Alamo doll. The Customs and Border Protection say agriculture specialists found the bird on July 1 after cutting open the doll, when an X-ray revealed something unusual about the contents.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Vitali, will you read the next two short paragraphs here?
The seized birds were placed in quarantine and transferred to a Department of Agriculture holding facility, while the couple was fined $300. The border agency states birds entering the country are regulated because they can carry viral and bacterial diseases.
All right. So first let's talk about the vocabulary. What about the word seized? The seized birds.
I don't
What's
know.
a synonym to the word? This is kind of like captured or taken, because the people who were bringing them in didn't get to keep them. The birds were captured and taken away, and so we call them the seized birds. To seize something is like to grab or to capture something.
Okay.
All right, the seized birds were placed in quarantine. What is quarantine?
Isolation.
Isolation. Yeah, some kind of timeout area. Any other questions?
What's the meaning of quarantine now?
Some kind of isolation area. So usually quarantine is used on borders to stop people from crossing, or sometimes you can be quarantined if you have a contagious disease. So
Yeah.
to stop other people from getting infected, you're isolated, put all by yourself.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
No.
Is this story a little more believable?
Yes.
Let's see. And also, I kind of liked this story because it's Arizona, my native land. But it's kind of funny, the things that come over the border sometimes. I mean, things as serious as drugs and as silly as birds. Kind of a funny thing. Any last comments or questions on this one before we move on?
No.
All right.
No questions.
The next one is pretty short, and we're back to Elcio. Will you read it for us?
In Singapore, selling non-medical chewing gum or chewing normal gum is a fine of $1,000. A second offense costs $2,000 and begin first to clean up a public area of the city for a day. If a person litters 3 times, they must clean the streets wearing a bib that reads, "A litterer, even pharmacists who sell the medical gum and forget to ID get 2 years in jail." Spitting is also illegal and can result in arrest.
All right, Elcio, do you believe this one?
I believe.
And why do you believe it?
I don't know, Mikhail. Let me think about one moment.
All right, Ali, what are your thoughts? Do you think this story is true?
No, I don't know.
I think, and I
Go ahead.
think that story is true.
So, Ali, you think the story is true?
No,
Or
I
was that?
don't know.
Okay, Vitali, you said you think the story is true.
Yeah, Vitaly is. I think
Vitaly.
that is true. I know that in Singapore is a very strong rules, and I believe you may get 2 years in jail in in medical gum.
Yeah, it seems like a serious punishment for something that I consider to be very normal, but you know, different cultures value things in different ways. And Ali, what are your thoughts on this one? All right. How about
Michaela,
Elsia? Oh,
Michaela,
yeah.
I believe because I watch in History Channel, they talk about the sharing gun is prohibited in Singapore.
Really? They talked about it.
Yes,
Wow, awesome. So you have first-hand knowledge.
but it's a real story.
Well, most of these stories I got from sources that could be right or could be making things up. So this is a story that I got from a random website, and it's not really backed up by evidence. So some of these stories are clearly true. Like I think the last story is true, but this one I think I got it from a source, but it could be a rumor. But I wouldn't know. We'd have to have a student from Singapore really tell us if all this is true. Sometimes people say crazy things like this, and it's not really true.
Yes.
All right. So, any other comments or questions before we move on to the next story? Okay. Let's see. So, the next story you've no doubt heard. And I'll split this up into two sections. Ali, will you read? Let's see. Will you read this part where I'm highlighting now? Are you there, Ali? All right.
Yeah,
Ali,
I'm
you're
here.
muted. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Read that part for us.
We have no double herd of the Amazons. It's exclusively a female tribe of Ferric warrior. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote of the fate of the Amazons, saying that they were captured, relocated, overcame their captors, become a shipwrecked, and then ended up on the Russian steppe where they fought the Scythians, thinking the Amazons would make a strong waves. The Scythian men decide to fight the next battle on the field of love.
Thank you. And Vitaly, will you finish it with the rest of the story?
The dwelling Amazons eventually agreed to intermarry with the Scythians as long as the daughters were encouraged to continue the proud tradition of the woman warrior. Ancient graves unearthed in the Eurasian steppe reveal that a good portion of the Scythian women had battle-damaged bones and that they were buried with swords, bows, daggers, and other staples of the warrior.
Okay. So first we'll talk a little about vocabulary. What does fierce mean?
What?
The word
Fierce.
fierce in the first sentence,
Fierce?
they
Yeah.
were an exclusively female tribe of fierce warriors.
Okay. Cruel.
Huh?
Cruel.
Cruel. Sometimes it could be cruel. What else? What more? Could be
Angry.
like angry, maybe violent, kind of some kind of base. It's this like very deep emotion of violence, cruelty, anger, or wildness, I guess, kind of like a wild quality. All right, and what about overcame, which is the past of overcome? So what does it mean when they overcame their captors?
Say pass. Pass up. Pass up.
Huh?
Pass up. It's like when I did something or get something right.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Sorry, my screen share is being weird right now. Okay. So overcome can be kind of like that, like to defeat maybe the people who are holding you, or overpower would be another good synonym. Do you guys have any other questions on the vocabulary from this story?
Scythians. What is the name?
I believe it's Scythians, but I'm not exactly positive on the pronunciation. I think it's Scythians, though, with an S sound. We could look up the pronunciation. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that I'm not particularly familiar with. I think they were somewhere near Asia. Yeah, it's an S sound, Scythian.
Scythian. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other vocabulary words? What about dwindling?
Oh, okay. Dwindling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Does anybody know? Can anyone give us a synonym or a definition for the word dwindle or dwindling? It's when something is slowly coming down in number or reducing in number. So when they say the dwindling Amazons eventually agreed to intermarry, it means that they were once maybe a great force and lots of tribes, but by the time they were captured by someone and then they overcame their captors and they were in another battle, they battled so many times that people were dying and their numbers were being reduced because of these battles and all the fighting happening. So, do you guys believe in the female Amazon warrior tribes? Let's start with Elcio, because this is, I mean, the Amazon people are supposedly from Brazil, right?
So.
Do you believe they existed?
No, I don't believe.
So you think it's a myth?
Yes.
All right, and how come? Why don't you believe that there was the ancient warrior tribe like Xena?
Like what?
Like Xena! You put her name in the chat box.
I like to watch.
Yeah, it's an interesting show, but you don't believe that there was anything like that? No female warrior tribe?
I don't know. Perhaps a century ago, but
So you think they might have existed at one point
one
in
point
history?
And point of the I forgot the name. One point of the time is a timeline.
Hmm.
Timeline. Yes.
Yeah, you can say that. They existed in one point in time.
Yes.
All right. Vitaly, what do you think? Did they exist at one point?
I think that is a very beautiful myth, a legend,
Mm.
but, maybe this legend is based on the true story. Beautiful, but maybe some society in Amazon or then another uh, land have some similar warriors, female warrior.
Mm-hmm. All right. Ali, what about you? Do you think they could have existed, or is this just a total myth?
Yeah, it could be existed because it's. I think that this talent from God, and it can be a woman, man, could be in
All right.
any human.
Okay. Cool. So kind of we're on the fence here. You guys think they might have existed, but you're not totally positive. Any other questions or comments before we go on to the next story?
Yes, so I cheap worked become overcome their captor and become cheap worked.
Shipwrecked.
Yeah.
So what is shipwrecked? Does anybody know?
Maybe ship crashed.
Yes. When a ship crashes or gets destroyed in some way, maybe by a battle or by a whale or something, it's called shipwrecked because wrecked means like a disaster or a mess.
Okay.
Great question. And the copy that I gave to you guys might have some weird formatting issues. I was having a little trouble with it. I'm not sure why the format didn't quite mix. But if you guys have any questions due to formatting, let me know. Okay. Our next story is for Elsia to read for us. It's a short one.
Okay. A younger girl named Laura Buxton was at her grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, where she released a bunch of balloons into the air. She attached a note to the balloon that asked the person who found each to write back to her. Less than 2 weeks later, she received a reply. A balloon had been found by another Laura Buxton, 150 miles away. They had other similarities too. The girls were both 10 years old, also each had a guinea pig, a rabbit, and a 3 years old black lab dog.
All right. It's like the Twilight Zone, right? Do you believe this story?
mm, Miss, that's strange, their story, this story.
Yeah, totally. Ali, do you believe it?
No, actually,
Why not?
because they found Laura found the reply is away of 150 miles away.
It's
I
pretty
don't
far.
know. Yeah, very far away from here home. And I think that the balloon get this distance
Mhm.
without any the balloon out.
Mhm. All right,
Yes.
Vitaly, what do you think?
I not believe, but it's a very beautiful story for children. Great story for yellow pages, or yellow mm, um, newspaper, for yellow newspaper. I don't
Mhm.
believe that story.
All right. I have my own doubts about this story, but it's apparently true. I mean, I've read it in several sources that this is the events that happened, but I'm with you guys. I think that it's a little too coincidental that all this stuff happened. I think maybe there's some other kind of explanation, like maybe a person found it and contacted a Laura Buxton, which was a different Laura Buxton, and then I don't know. I think there should be some other kind of explanation for exactly how all this happened. But we'll never know. It's a mystery. Any other comments or questions before we go on to our next one?
Michaela, in United
Yeah,
States is normal children have had a guinea pig in their house.
it's pretty common.
Uh, I
Why?
had three.
Oh
I
yeah,
had
you had guinea pigs too when you were young?
no, 3 years ago.
3 years ago you had a guinea pig?
Yes, I like guinea pigs.
They're very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're good friends. I never had one personally, but I had hamsters and a rabbit and a bunch of other stuff, a ferret as well. But I never had a guinea pig before. Maybe one day I'll get to have a guinea pig too.
Yes.
They're very cute. All right. So this will probably be, I think we'll have time for at least one more today. And this time, I think we're starting with Vitaly, and then Ali will go for the next paragraph. Start us off.
When in 2007 Karen decided to divorce Joe, her husband of 26 years, she did not count on just how crafty her soon-to-be ex could be. Joe's defense in the case was so simple, it was beautiful. He claimed that they can't get divorced because the marriage was already dissolved over 3 years ago, when Joe died.
Thank you. Ali?
Yes. Apparently, Joe claimed that after his heart stopped in 2004, this temporary death was enough to annul their marriage on the legal pending clause of "till death do us part". If that wasn't enough, he cited two additional examples of his death, one more time in 2004 and one again in 2005.
All right. So vocabulary first. Can we get a definition for the word claim? He claimed.
I take a case.
A what?
A case. It's like
A case. Okay.
yeah, it is a case.
A case in court. You always need a claim of some kind.
Yeah.
Can anyone add to that definition for us? It's some kind of statement with
It's cheap, like agree with something.
like agree.
Yes, he climbed.
Not exactly. It has to do with the word agree, maybe. Claim is usually something that is not proven yet. It's like an opinion that's not yet proven. So a claim in court, or sometimes a claim in an argument. Anyone else want to add to this? We
It
can...
has a evidence to prove it.
Yeah, sometimes there's evidence, but it's something that's not yet proven. So, let's see. To assert or maintain as a fact. So if you assert that something is a fact, it means that you say something is a fact, but not yet proven. So that's why in a court case, we have a claim made. And at the end, if it's a true claim, then we just say it's a fact. But before we've decided if it's true or not, we call it a claim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. How about the word dissolved? No clue here? Dissolve is like when something comes apart or is destroyed in some way. You could use it for when you put like vitamins into water. They dissolve, so you mix it in with the water, and they kind of, you can't see the individual vitamins anymore. It just becomes a liquid.
Yeah.
Or candy will dissolve in your mouth. If you put some kind of hard candy in your mouth, eventually it just becomes nothing. It just gets smaller and smaller until it's nothing. And the last vocabulary word here is annul. What does annul mean? Aye.
To cancel, Michaela?
Huh?
Like a cancel something?
Yes. Like cancel. It's just like cancel or void something. So it's not valid anymore. Any other vocabulary questions or comments before we go on?
I don't understand this story. Joe want to divorce by this die?
Not exactly. So did someone want to...
What has happened?
All right. So in the beginning, it says Karen decides to divorce Joe, her husband of 26 years. And Joe defends himself by saying that she can't divorce him because they're not married anymore. And he bases this on when you get married, people always say through sickness and death till death, or sickness and health till death do us part. So when you promise to stay married to someone, you say, even if I'm sick or if I'm healthy, I'm going to stay married to this person until I die. But Joe's argument was that he had gotten really sick in 2004 and his heart stopped. So sometimes when you have a heart attack or if you have some kind of illness, your heart might stop, and then they have to use those electric devices to get you to be alive again. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Very strange story.
Yes, it is a very strange story. But he's saying because his heart stopped in 2004, they were not married anymore because technically that's like death. When your heart stops, you're dead. So
Michaela,
he said that, yeah.
What is the till death to us part?
It's really, really old English because the phrase that you say when you get married is a really, really old one. It's not using modern English. It's using like kind of old ancient formal English. But till death do us part means until death brings us apart.
Until death to us part. I know.
Yeah, so until death parts us, basically. All right. Any other questions from this? Do you guys understand now?
I think Joe is a masochist and
So
strange man.
Yeah, he's a strange man. It's kind of clever, though. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that. So you guys believe it's true?
I believe.
No.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So everyone believes it's a true story. It's just a weird story.
I believe too.
All right. So we're about out of time. And if you guys have any other comments or questions, you can let me know on Verbling or on. I think I have 3 more classes, not starting now, but in 1 hour. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.